What is up, everybody? I'm Given, and today we are going to be taking a look at a gold-filled Gold-ilocks game. A really powerful one. This hero has just continued to impress me with powerful game after powerful game, and I just keep finding new sweet tricks the more I play her. So we'll be going over some of those tips and tricks in this video, as well as just looking at a really powerful game. You can see we're already high rolling, getting to cast a Shrink Ray and pick up 3 characters on 2.1 with that buy and sell of the golden chicken. Could have just locked the shop and potentially picked up the golden chicken later on, though I think it's fine just to play the stronger board for right now, maintain your health advantage, and I was going to buy all of these characters anyway, so this seemed totally reasonable to me and allows us to grab a win there up against Fallen Angel. And then we find another golden chicken, so we can keep it rolling here, and we are rewarded for buying out the whole shop on the previous turn. Interestingly here, I thought that I should just hang on to the golden chicken because golden chicken is so good with Gold-ilocks, but then I realized just picking up the black cat and the minotaur is just the same thing. Like, we could sell the black cat and the minotaur next turn if we really want the econ, and it's just stronger, so might as well do that. And of course, the reason that I bring that stuff up is that when you hit that level up, it's really good to be able to sell 2 things, and then you can pick up an additional character. Like this turn, we've got 7 gold. If we sell 2 things, then we've got 9 gold, and we'd be able to pick up 3 things from this shop. So there's definitely a few ways to play it here. I kind of like my pair of crafties, so I'm kind of eyeing up just picking up both of the Shadow Assassins, and then we'll finish things off with the Queen of Hearts. But at the same time, I also kind of like the Ogre Princess because she can slay, and we don't have any slay characters to go along with these Shadow Assassins, so maybe should have picked up the Ogre Princess instead of the Queen of Hearts this turn, and then locked on to the Queen of Hearts to be able to pick that up in future turns if I decided that I wanted that. But I'm going to lock onto that Ogre Princess for next turn regardless here, and we will have enough stats to just barely grab a tie in this combat as well. It was a really close one, really silly. But then we get to pick up another Queen of Hearts to go along with the Queen of Hearts that we have, and then we'll pick up an Ogre Princess, like I said, and that's pretty good econ for the turn. One thing that I will mention with Gold-ilocks is that I definitely noticed during this game is we found this pair of Shadow Assassins, pretty cool. We're going to find another pair on 4.0, which makes the hero a lot different from APOC. The ability to find those pairs means that you could potentially find Gold-ilocks games where you're having an easier access to treasures. That's what we are going to be doing in this one. We'll be grabbing some treasures a little bit easier with some of those characters, which is a cool aspect of the hero power that I didn't really think of before this game, to be totally honest, and winds up working out really powerfully for us. So just another cool angle that this hero has at its disposal. I like the black cat here. We'll kind of give up on the Ogre Princess, and then we will triple the Queen of Hearts. And while I really like Ancient Sarcophagus, you also all know that I love Crystal Ball. Part of the reason that I love Crystal Ball even more in this specific instance, though, is because on Gold-ilocks, you are more likely to be able to find an Aeon on 5.0. Now, it doesn't actually wind up happening for us in this game, but still, that's the idea. The idea is there, and it's just something to think about when you are playing Gold-ilocks. Crystal Ball does have a little bit more power, one, because you're more powerful, but also because you can more realistically find that Aeon once you hit level 5. It's still a little bit of a ways off, but I also kind of thought that we were powerful enough right now to kind of greed for the Crystal Ball. And that is definitely going to show in this combat as we have that massive Queen of Hearts. And then I mentioned we were going to find another pair. We're going to be able to pick up a pair of chupacabras here on 4.0. Could pick up a mummy as well, but I think after that I will just wind up rolling and trying to triple some of these other characters that we have. We've got 3 pairs right now that we're sitting on, so it'd be nice to make a triple of one of those. True Love's Kiss, also kind of interesting and could potentially help us find like an Aeon or something, though we'll look for the Aeon when it comes to it. For right now, I'm just going to pick up a mage in the form of Wizard's Familiar, and then I'm going to pick up a crafty triple. And some interesting options here. I wind up going for a monster manual, though, because we do actually have a lot of monsters on the current board. And then I'm going to cast a spell to finish off the turn, bet on myself here with the 4 Glory. I'm not super interested in the Black Cat pair. There's only a few tier 2 treasures that we really care about, and might not be worth the gold for a character that we're not really even going to play. It's so hard to get that on the board with the Minotaur. We also wind up losing the combat, so a little bit awkward, but then we'll triple the Chupacabra. Main thing I'm looking for there is Forking Rod, but Horn of Olympus, I'll take it. And this was the thing that I was bringing up at the start of the game in terms of the... Oh, I guess we did keep the Black Cat. Sorry, I got a little bit confused there. When I was saying that Gold-ilocks gives more access to treasures, we got both of those Chupacabras off of the Gold-ilocks turn, and then we were able to find this Moonsong Horn because of that. So I just thought that was really, really cool. And yeah, then I guess I do wind up locking onto this Black Cat. I guess I like the monster book here too. Don't really remember this part of the game. A lot more happens in this game, so I'm a little bit shaky on the mid part of it, but I guess I wouldn't really mind to find like a big book of spells or a boiling beaker. As much as I said they'd be a little bit of a waste of gold, we're still playing these Black Cats for now, so yeah, seems like that is what I'm going to be going for on the next turn. We're going to have enough stats here to win this combat, so we will also grab the Reckless Wager, which is nice in terms of allowing us to cast a few more spells, and let's see if we can find a cool tier 2 treasure. Not quite, so we'll cast a few more spells here. Queen of Hearts kind of on its way out as we integrate in some more neutral characters, but we'll see what we can make happen from that. And then I find another Queen of Hearts, just a full triple, and I felt like I had to go for this here. If we could find the hat, that would obviously be really powerful. But the other thing that I'm looking for there, in addition to the Ancient Sarcophagus, in addition to the hat, is Treasure Map. And this is a really cool aspect of Gold-ilocks as well that I think is super important to consider. In the same way that you're more likely to make treasures when you level up, you're more likely to find 9C treasures and Lancelots and just overall be able to make tier 5 treasures. So trying to pick up a treasure map before you hit level 5 on Gold-ilocks I think is overall just a really, really good idea to potentially allow you to snowball on the hero. So that's what I was going for there. Not quite going to work out, but we are still going to have a ton of stats to work with this turn. We will wind up taking a little bit of damage down to 25, but overall still feeling pretty healthy. We get a really awkward chop on this turn, a pair of Baba Yagas, a pair of Tweedles. I guess the Baba Yagas are actually good with all of the Slay shenanigans that we've got going on, and we'll move back into the evil stuff a little bit, but Chupacabra, not actually a unit that I've played in a pretty long time, but that we can potentially make it work. I'm just going to play a little bit more stats on this board and then go for a Wish Upon a Star and try to hit level 6 and start Gold-ilocksing on level 6 just a little bit sooner. And I'll move around the board a little bit to just try to play something a little bit stronger and play a few more evil characters. Well, I guess I was going to play 6 evil characters here regardless, but if we can win this Wish Upon a Star, that's huge, because then we are level 6 already, which is quite soon. We'll be 3 XP up on the rest of the lobby, or 2 XP up rather on the rest of the lobby. It's just going to come down to if we can take out this Lady of the Lake, and we can. So now we're level 6, and we get to grab some tier 6 characters, and I told you, this game with Gold-ilocks is all about making treasures. with those Gold-ilocks activations, and we get to make a treasure here with Hercules. Getting to grab the questing units is always sweet, and we'll even grab a Boomhilda to activate the Hercules a little bit easier. I do consider taking the Oni Tyrant because everything that I have is a monster, so you do at least have to consider it, but the Hercules is definitely going to be the route that I want to go to potentially activate that in 3 hits, which could just be 1 or 2 combats. I think is really good. Grab us a tier 6 or maybe even a tier 7 treasure out of Pandora's box, and that could really help us go nuts. We'll probably wind up tossing the Ancient Sarcophagus. I still really want to pick up an Aeon as well, so that way we are truly hat-balling. But for right now, we'll see what we can do with this Hercules. And with my opponent creating a bunch of summons here, we get super lucky and are able to activate our Hercules in 1 combat. So that is really, really cool. And now we're going to grab a tier 6 treasure before the rest of the lobby even hits tier 6. So that's cool. Wand of Weirding has the word spell on it. Let's pick that one up and see if we can't find an Aeon sooner or later to start doing some spell stuff. But I'll pick up a Scion of the Storm as well. That seems sweet. And then we will begin our quest looking for some more mages. Just fire off a Genie's Wish there. That's going to be the end of our spell casting. And then I find the treasure map that I mentioned earlier, and I'd really like to find another Baba Yaga, and then we could find a tier 7 treasure. I felt like that would be cool. I also don't hate potentially picking up Nyan Sea Terror and trying to find a tier 7 treasure in that way. I thought that that could have been an interesting route to go, but ultimately I think I'm not going to go for the Nyan Sea Terror just because I really want to find that Aeon as well, and if we can find the Aeon and then the Baba Yaga triple, I think that sets us up quite well. Maybe the tier 7 treasure pulls us in a different direction, but there's still things like Black Prism that could be a ton of fun, so that is also what we'll be out on the look for. But going to hope to triple up on the Baba Yaga. Going to get a second slay with the Chupacabra, so these Baba Yagas are big now. It's been a while since I've done just some Chupacabra Baba Yaga action. It feels like such an old school strategy, but it can still definitely work, so that's a cool one. Wind up rolling past a Dream spell, just so that way I can potentially cast some more things this turn. And if we do some quick maths here, we'll realize that we can actually just barely activate Lancelot. It'll require this Merlin's test as well, but that'll get Lancelot up to 30 health after a double casted Merlin's test, and that'll give us a tier 7 treasure. So that's how we're getting there. We're already into the top 4 of this lobby. This lobby is almost done with, but if we can grab a tier 7 treasure, that'll definitely allow us to secure this win and find some sweet plays here. So that's the idea. We'll see what we can put together exactly, but against Puffy, playing a bunch of Puffs, I don't know, I think we're okay. It depends. They also fog our Baba Yaga, so this could get pretty close, and this Puffy actually winds up getting a win against us and hitting us for a little bit of damage. Not a huge deal. We take some damage, but we grab a tier 7 treasure. I'll take that trade. Mirror, kind of cool with the Scion of the Storm, but just gotta be Holy Grail. We've been looking for a way to cast a whole bunch of spells this whole game, and Holy Grail finally delivers to us. So now we will have Holy Grail plus Crystal Ball, and that will hopefully allow us to just cast a bunch of spells. I am eyeing up here the ability to potentially activate Scion of the Storm, but the other thing I'm thinking is I just don't want to die this turn. If I can survive just this turn, then we will be able to have a Holy Grail turn. So I want to play it a little bit safe and wind up finding another Scion of the Storm, which I think is pretty powerful. So I wind up picking that up to end things off. And then just kind of playing this Slay comp mixed with mages. It's not super powerful. I think we are going to lose this one here to an Empress P board, but Then we'll get to cast a bunch of spells, and maybe we will be powerful enough for the next time we face off up against them. We will triple off our Sign of the Storm to start off the turn, grab a 9th Book of Merlin. That's a pretty good way to get things started. And then I will make 2 copies of Lancelot, followed by 2 more with an Evil Twin. I'm just going to wind up skipping on all of those things. I put the Lancelot in briefly, or try to find room for it, but ultimately it's not worth it. I need to cast some more spells. I probably should have just gone for trees and started trying to pick up as many trees as possible, but we're in the end game too at the same time, so it's a little bit tough to justify. We don't want to waste too much time, and we actually wind up doing really well just playing mages. We're going to put 2 Scions of the Storm in 2 different crocs. We are going to find an Aeon eventually, and then I'm going to put these crocs both on the board and make sure that we're bringing the stats, and then I'm going to cast as many spells as possible onto this Aeon, a few onto Lancelot, and then a few more elsewhere, just so that way Aeon can potentially be slaying. We send the Chupacabra up into an Oni Tyrant, and then we turn it into a Lordy to end off the turn. But did we get enough stats? That's the question. We do have enough stats that Aeon gets to slay, and now we are Hatball Wand. Pretty good. Also, we have a 9th Book of Merlin, so I'd say that we turned things around and eventually, finally, became a Hatball user. Just took a little bit, but found the treasures, and we got there, and we have these massive Scions of the Storm to help us bring it home here. That'll help us take out the Sadrak and move on to the finals, which is going to be up against the Fallen Angel. I think this is potentially a little bit late in the game, but I wind up picking up a Spellweaver. The one thing to say about that is that we do have the 9th Book of Merlin, so it's pretty useful to just grab additional mages. Then we find a Mimic chest, and Mimic 9th Book is just too sweet to pass up when all of my characters are already mages. Maybe I should have tossed the wand here, so that way I could have still been hatballing, but I did like the potential idea of finding like a scam spell or something like that, because our spells actually costed 4 less this turn. We had Aeon Slay twice, I believe. We'll wind up finishing off the turn with a Hermes Magic Beans, and then I'm going to sell 2 things and pick up a Wizard's Familiar. Just because it's a mage, it's not going to matter too much. It gets pigomorphed. But let's see if I've got enough stats to win this one. I'm going to have to do a bunch of scamming. My opponent has a large backline thanks to Empress P and a huge Echo Wood. Am I going to be able to get there? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to rely on some scams. We've taken out both of the Gumblegores down to 1, and then we scam the Lady of the Lake. And I think I've got enough stats inside of this croc to take out this Echo Wood as well. We take it out with 1 Scion of the Storm and finish off my opponent as well. A really sweet game. I've told you guys that Gold-ilocks has not disappointed me yet. So a really sweet one. And I thought this showcased some cool tricks as well as some silly high rolls and getting pretty lucky in there as well too. But that is going to be it for me today. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'm No Lex Given. Peace.